Hey everybody, this is Frilioth and welcome to another Minecraft episode on the AlphaCraft server. Right, we're back on the Iron Alpha today for hopefully the final day of testing. We're going to fire this bad boy up today, I think. We've been testing it for a couple of days now. All the tests seem to have gone fantastically well. So all that remains is for me to turn it on, I guess. Which is dead exciting, actually, and I appreciate all the feedback and the comments that you guys have been giving me. It's been fantastic. It's been great listening to and reading your comments. So thank you for that. Right, before we turn it on properly for the first time, just got to check all the doors are invalid, and they are. Do the same on the other side. If I raise the villagers at the ends, while the doors are valid, while those trapdoors are open, it's going to create a village. And obviously we don't want that to happen, first off, until the little fellow up there starts running around. So that's all okay. So now we need to raise up the villagers from the east and west corners, east and west ends. Now, I think I've mentioned this to you guys in the past. If this wasn't built in a spawn chunk, I'd probably have like a little control room with all the levers and the buttons and everything controlling the guys over there from one room. But because I'm only having to do this once with a bit of luck, then I don't mind. Oh, look at it. This is what I've been AFKing. I've been AFKing in the doors. I don't mind running around doing this manually just like a couple of times because I've only got to do it the once. So we've got to turn you on, raise you up, validate the bottom doors, or it will validate the bottom doors once they're open. And validate that guy. Both done. Get back up on top. Oh! Kinetic. Right, get back up on top. They're up. They're up. The doors are closed. We'll turn it on. So now, for anybody that's new to the Iron Alpha, it's an iron farm, clearly, but it uses 60 stackable villages, so it's 60 times quicker than a normal iron farm, and the cycle takes about 3 hours. There are 60 doors and each cycle takes about 3 minutes to validate one door. Now we could make this a lot quicker, I mean a lot quicker, but that would mean having another villager sort of 63 blocks that way. And I don't want to do that. I wanted to keep this in as small a footprint as possible, which is why I've sort of designed it this way. And yes, it will take a little bit longer to load, but like I've mentioned, this is in a spawn chunk, so it really doesn't make too much of a difference. If it wasn't in a spawn chunk, you'd have to do this every time the chunk was loaded. So it would get a bit monotonous. However, I'm hoping that the amount of iron you can get from doing one night's AFK would make up for the fact that it's going to take 3 hours to set. So he's now validated all of those doors. That line of sticky pistons over there, or those doors are now validated. That light's on. He's now gone up to the top, so the village, which contains all of those doors, is now snapped over to those doors up there, and now we'll make his way down this column of doors until these bottom doors are validated, and then he'll move out of range of all of these doors in the towers, leaving these bottom 22 doors as the only valid doors, and that's going to create a village bang in the middle. Anyway, I won't bore you guys because a lot of you guys have seen this before. So what I'm going to do now is go AFK for 3 hours. Actually, I'll probably leave it for about an hour until like a third of them are done, then do another check, and hopefully by then we'll start getting some golems. So the first cycle has been completed. All the doors along the bottom now have all been validated. We've got 30 completely separate villages in the iron farm, and as you can see, we've already got these bad boys spawning. And if we go and have a look down the bottom, We've already got, look at that, there's already more golems in the bottom than we can get rid of. This is at half capacity. This is only, look at them falling out of the skies. And the noise is deafening. I apologise for that, but I think it's a fantastic sound, actually. So even with the lava there killing them, we still can't get rid of them quick enough. I could sit here and watch this all day, but then I'm very sad. But it has taken months of planning, so you just have to indulge me if I stand there staring at it for a few minutes. So like I said, the bottom doors, the bottom 30 villagers are spawning on the bottom 2 spawning pads, so we should never get, at the moment anyway, we won't get anything spawning on this pad until we send it on the next round of the next cycle to validate the top doors. But before I can do that, I need to raise up the villagers on the east and west, ends. But before I do that, I need to close all of these pistons, because if I don't, if I raise up the villager on this side, all of these doors will form part of the village that's just been created, and it'll be a massive village and it'll break everything. So I need to close all of these pistons, and we do that just by pressing that button there. And then we need to go over, do the same on the other side. So now all the doors are invalidated, but fortunately all of the villages that have been created will still remain until the chunk unloads, and because the chunk is a spawn chunk, it's never going to unload, therefore the bottom 30 villages won't become invalid. So now we've done that, we can go down and raise the 2 villages up another level, so he can go. So the guy in the minecart can go around validating the top row of doors. So move him up there now. Now he's going to keep those doors at the bottom validated, and he's now going to validate the top ones. Oh! Can't fly. Can't fly for toffee. So, doors closed, village is up. Starting working again. Get over it just for a second. Just indulge me for a second. Brilliant. So it's been a couple of hours since I started this running. I've been checking the files regularly, and so far everything has gone like clockwork. So this guy now is just coming down to add the last 11 doors, the 11 doors under here. There you go. So they've now been added to the massive village. He's working his way back up the top. I've turned the farm off. Well, I've turned the cycle off. Obviously, I can't turn the farm off without stopping it from working. So now, I think what we need to do is have a wander downstairs. It's absolutely fantastic. I can't tell the amount of work. I'm nervous now, it's getting dark. But the amount of work I've put into this to actually see it finally working on a vanilla server is fantastic. And it's only this is literally you've just seen it just finish, so it's only been running for a couple of hours, and that's not been at full capacity. So we are going to have iron forever. And it's looking like it just can't keep up. So now I think we're going to have to start building a massive collection storage area. Otherwise we're not going to know what to do with all of the iron. I'm sure we can sort something out, but this is brilliant. Let me just get over here just for a second. And as I mentioned before, because the golems associated with every village, we needed the 70 odd villages. Otherwise, we'd only ever have one golem spawning at a time. Where I think the maximum I've seen so far has been 5. But anyway, it's working. It's working. I've checked the files. We've got 60 completely separate villages in such a tiny footprint. Now, these have been built before. This is not the first stackable village iron farm, but it's certainly one of the smallest I've seen that has got 60 villages in it. The other ones have been absolutely massive, with things going off here, there and everywhere, using loads and loads of villages in minecarts or boats or water or everything else. This just uses there are 4 key areas of villages, 4 key villager areas, should I say. You've got the main population. You've got these 36 or so there, the 36 or so at the other side. You've got a villager at that end, at the east side, that validates all of those doors. You've got a villager that side, the west side, that validates all of those doors. And then you've got the villager in the minecart that goes around creating the villagers in the first place. But that, for a 60 village stackable iron farm, that footprint is tiny. But let me know in the comments if there is a stackable villager farm, a stackable iron farm that you've seen somewhere else that is smaller than this, because I'd love to see it. Look at it, iron for days. So I'm going to go and try and figure out what to do with the storage. I'm probably going to speak to a couple of the other alphas that are better builders than I am. As you've seen from some of the content, there are a few builders on here that are much better at designing than I am. So I'll be having a chat with those to see if we can turn this into some kind of steampunk iron foundry kind of thing that will fit in with the theme of the spawn area, which is fundamentally industrial steampunk. So I'll be having a word with those. But that will do for the Iron Alpha. It's there, it's up and running. and I am super chuffed. Okay, so I know this episode's been a little bit shorter than usual, but all I wanted to do was just update you on the Iron Alpha, of the progress of that, and the bad boy's working, and it's working absolutely phenomenally well. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I'd also like to thank my patrons for their continued support. I really do appreciate it. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to leave it a like. And if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.